ready to get in the trenches. We're back in the trenches with the brokers for September. Going to be talking how they win new business this year. My name's John Sprague. Welcome to Heads Up Advisor. Another Thursday here. We got a great guest. Going to be talking about how to win business, how to get $100,000 raise after year one, and then get referrals to six-figure accounts. And it's all done by providing the right solutions for your clients and executing on your promises. So with that being said, show sponsor, Virtue Health. Check us out, virtuealliance.com. With that, we'll welcome to the show my good friend, Redmond Sherwood. Welcome, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, John?
Good. Those that don't know, quick story, Redmond, I guess I really owe you. Almost saved my life last week. Redmond happened to be in Florida last week where I actually took a little spill, you could call it, and woke up a little dizzy, but no booze involved, nothing. Just smoking cigars on an empty stomach, and sometimes that happens. But Redmond was like EM or whatever you call emergency services there. EMS, that's it. Yeah. But I was back in action in a few minutes. So
you just need a little bit more calories, no big deal.
Yeah, just a few more. So, and we happen to be with the client that we're going to talk about today, the mutual client. We were at Hard Rock Hotel. Good times, little cigars, little gambling. Fun to watch people gamble at silly stakes sometimes, I'll tell you. It's pretty insane. But so, we'll cut right to it. Redmond, I want to kind of, as you're listening here, we're going through the show. There's advisors like yourself. You used to listen to the show. I want you to kind of share everything with them as far as pre-sale, going through the follow-up, trying to get them on the calls, trying to get the meetings, to closing the meeting, to finalizing the meeting, to delivering results, to getting referrals. I mean, the whole shebang. People want to hear it, how you did it. They're sick and tired of hearing it from me and Craig. And, so let's just start out with, little background on the group, the size, kind of what was going on and how you started to get in there.
Yeah. So when we started, I got a referral from my brother-in-law. So referrals are still the king in my book. But we got a referral, and that's just to open the door. You still have to walk through that door and get the actual sale done. And I'll be honest, it wasn't easy. This was a group. I was based out of Los Angeles and Nashville at the time, and this was a group out in Boston. And we got that referral, which basically got us a meeting with the CFO and the HR team, and going through that process, and then finally went out to meet them twice, flying out to Boston in the freezing cold of November. I've never been to a colder place.
Were you in California at the time?
I was. I flew out. I was meeting with another client, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to meet." So I hopped on a plane and flew out to Boston. Did not know that I needed 63 different layers of clothing. I had to go to the store and buy it because I left that night. I was in California and then left that night, flew to Boston, got there, was a one-day meeting. And with that, that was after 6 months of working on this case. It was a lot of work to, one, convince the HR team that we weren't going to come in and ruin their lives. That's a big part of it. And then two, sell the actual CFO. So it was a two-step process of convincing the HR team and then also convincing the CFO. And we were able to do that on the final meeting. And once we did that, it still took us another 2 months before we actually got the BOR in hand. So we sell it, we get the agreement.
Well, let's slow down. Let's back up. So you get this meeting with them. You fly across the country. It's a 400 life group, fully insured. Mm-hmm. Maybe not so happy with the broker. What was the relationship then? Was it we're unhappy, or we just, hey, we have to take a meeting because somebody asked us, or?
No, the meeting that they took was simply a nicety. They were fine with their broker. They didn't have any trouble with him. I wish maybe it would have been a lot easier and not taken 6 months if they had a bad relationship with their broker, but they honestly didn't. the realization that they didn't have at that time was that their broker wasn't doing anything for them, right? So that's the thing that we have to kind of build and create, and that's what we did first, not with the HR team, but the HR team, and then with the CFO of what is their broker actually doing for them.
So you get a referral, but it still took 6 months to get a meeting. Okay.
Well, we got a meeting, but it wasn't, in person. The whole process took 6 months.
Yeah,
They're in Boston.
Those listening out there, just to remind you how tough this business is, you're not going to sit around and write referrals because they don't come often, right? Especially if you're not asking for them. But cold calls, whatever, it still takes that long, guys, time, because everything is timing, finding people at the right time when they're ready. 6 months later, you go into this meeting, you've kind of felt them out a little bit at this point. So you're coming prepared with a strategy. You kind of already know, right? We know where they are. We know what their past has been. And now what's your strategy going in?
Yeah. So the number one thing that I've found is that they don't want disruption, right? Yes, everyone wants to save money, but they don't want so much disruption that it's going to cause a major problem for the executives of the company when their leadership team, their managers, their directors are coming to them saying, hey, this is a totally different situation than we had before. This is a major problem. So we presented it in a different way. We didn't come in and say, hey, we're going to change everything. We're going to save you so much money in the first 12 months. We didn't do any of that. What we did is we
save you 20 to 40%. You didn't do the Geico salesman.
Yeah, no. What we did is we said you're on a path, right? You're on a path where you're going to continue to receive these 8 to 20% increases every single year, and you're not doing anything about it. I mean, your broker comes to you and says, hey, congratulations, I got you an 8% increase. They originally wanted 14. And that's nice that they got them that 6% decrease on the increase. But at the end of the day, compounding 6, 8, 9, 10% increases year after year, that's a lot of money. And we presented it in that fashion because the CFOs and the HR teams in these companies are not looking at it like this is a 5-year plan. They look at it as what's happening this year. Okay, this problem happened. It's awful. We got an increase. Great. Now they're done with it. They don't even remember last year's numbers. They don't recall that 3 years ago they were paying 20, 25% less than what they're paying now. And so when you put it in that perspective, and you show them the statistics of what it's going to look like in 3 years and how to get out of that problem, that's how we won the group. That's how we got the BOR. And we told them right off the bat that we're not going to change anything. What we want to do is we want to see what's going on. We want to understand the group. And because to be honest, I wanted the BOR as fast as possible. I didn't want to wait until renewal to win this group. I wanted the BOR now. So we showed them that we're going to go in, we're going to take a look at everything. We're obviously going to do all the same admin stuff that us brokers have to do. There's tons of administration. And this group was very tough on the administration in the beginning. But we took that over, and then we gave them the future in a reality for them that they could have. That we can take a look at this and build it for the future.
Yeah, so you're going in, you're giving them an idea, and you're basically saying, this is our plan, this is our strategy, but this isn't going to happen now. I'm not going to jam it down your throat right now, like most advisors. When we do that, you sound like a needy salesman that needs business, right? And you're trying to rush everything.
Yeah.
So positioning in a manner of a professional consultant saying, this is the plan, this is strategy. It's not going to happen now. We need some time to monitor, but we need to get going now to work that transition for next year. Is that kind of the conversation, how it went?
Yeah, and we wanted to monitor and make sure. I mean, one of the great things about being with Virtue is that it's not just a one piece of the puzzle. There's lots of pieces of the puzzle, and Virtue helps us with all of those pieces. So one of the things that we try to communicate in trying to get this BOR now is that we want to make sure that the group is ready to take that next step. We don't want to just shove this down your throat now. We want to make sure that we have the group in the right position, that the current spend for the group, the risk for the group is in a good position now before we take them to the next level of the partially alternative funded system.
Yeah, I mean, the more I'm in this business, the more self-funding renewals done, hundreds of renewals now, is going from left to right so fast it's really too much for most employers. And you got to kind of keep your powder dry. It's an old saying that they have. You don't need to implement everything 1 year. You also have to make it look very simple and very, very much like what they have now, and having something that's more kind of all in one bundled approach, not the carrier nonsense I'm talking about. An approach where your vendor partners are proven, they've worked together, they don't need to last minute implement. Hey, I want this PBM because I want that one. We're going to try to jam in implementation. All that type of stuff is stuff that's going to cause friction with the client when you get them on. The least thing you want to have is friction with the client. You're going to have friction. The year one, Redmond, it's going to be rocky because it's change, right? You're going to have change when an employer says, well, it's involved how much work. Well, you're going to have change of staying the same, or the pain of staying the same, or the pain of change. Pick which one you want, right? Because we know where the route goes now. Here's where this one goes. And so you got to deal with that and bundle as much as you can. A lot of guys out there, including this guy right here, try to do it all in year one and jam it and steerage and this, and it blows up in your face a lot. It's just a lot for them to handle. We think it's easy. We think it makes sense, but it's a challenge. So taking it slow, even as slow as Redmond is saying, because most of us, you may not get in there and go, let's be OR and wait till next year. You may still have 90 days and you're going to try to do it. Even then, you could still do it, but you got to take your time in what you're implementing. And, I always say I'm not a big fan of, the big green tree network, but if that's what it takes to get them over year one so they're comfortable, something of familiarity, then do it. If you saw Redmond, if you saw the podcast with Jordan Belfort, I said, Jordan, how did you come out and sell them a product they never heard of from a guy they never heard of and a company they never heard of? He said, well, I didn't. I sold them a product they heard of. We started them with the blue chip stocks, right? And so you have to have some familiarity, or it's going to be really difficult to sell that strategy. And sometimes they don't know what's best for them. But anyway, let's continue.
And that process of making sure that they're familiar with what they're switching to, what the changes are, you definitely have to have some familiarity. I mean, if I had the choice, they'd be doing, way down the line steps, but we put it out in this format where they can have this step now, this step next year, and then this step 3 years later, to get everything going, to keep them happy, but putting them in a right position. And you can save them money and everybody can win and they can have better benefits on a slow process to make it so it's not painful for them. Because that's the main problem, is the pain. They don't want the pain. A lot of times they'll spend more just to not have the pain.
Yeah, and they're so scared of it. It's you gotta keep it simple, guys. They don't need to know everything. If you're doing, and I'm saying, you're doing what's right for your client, you have a track record of doing it, you know what you're doing. They don't need the full explanation. They don't need to know, as Craig would say, how to make a watch. They just needed to tell the time. And so now you fast forward, you've got them in this program, right? Getting them over some hurdles.
Yeah.
Right. And talk to me about initially when you start to see some savings. You've got your carve out program on there for specialty pharmacy. Talk to me about throughout the year, talking to your client, delivering results, letting them know how that's going.
Sure. So, the carve out for specialty pharmacy, as we all know, is a huge asset, right? I mean, it's a big part of it, and we wanted to keep them abreast of what we were doing and exactly how much money we were saving. And so we would go on quarterly meetings. Didn't have to be with the whole team, but we would explain these are the drugs, these are the costs, this is what we would have paid on the old program, this is what you would have seen. And they were very happy with that, because then they see that we're actually doing work on a regular basis, and we're not just somebody who's hanging out in the background. We'll see you during open enrollment or not. And that process was great. And we had other cost saving measures that we did later on, that were, evacuating claims and making things good for the following year. And we would involve them in that process. We didn't tell them every single little detail because they didn't need to know, but the general idea, the numbers, how things worked on a overview scale, and they liked that a lot. So it built us up.
Yeah, going through when you're taking them cell phone, I always say go out after 30 days because things are changing. Check in on them, hold their hands. But now you guys get to deliver results. We're always visiting clients, and we always have to ask for money, right? Look, health insurance goes up. We always got to ask for money or what have you. It's nice to show value in what you do. That's the great thing about self-funding. That's why we all like it. It's, hey, look what I actually did here versus, the traditional renewal shopping for fully insured world. And so go out to see your client if you have results for them. Get in front of them. And so why don't we fast forward 400 life group, right? You sell them all on. I remember we did a call with them to kind of push them over hump. There's like 5 or 6 people in the room, silent, right? And we've got to kind of push them over and make them feel warm and fuzzy, but they're all pre-sold already. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think was a sticking point? Was it pressure on the budget? Was it they were just sick and tired? What got them over the hump? Because you had a lot of people that you had to sell in that room.
Yeah, I mean it's a large company, and you're going to be selling to the board essentially. I mean, you've got to sell to HR, you've got to sell to CFO, and then you've got to sell to the board as well. And in this situation, they had it was actually funny. They had a interim CFO. Their CFO left in the middle of the 3-month planning before open enrollment. So they had an interim CFO that was hired on for just like a temporary period. And we had to completely sell that person all over again in that meeting. And they did not come out with the best attitude, if you will. They were very skeptical. They have had experience. They're a CFO that comes in for 3 to 12 months for giant corporations all over the country. And they looked at self-funding like the largest risk in the entire world. But having John in that meeting was actually a really good thing, because he's able to, as the program kind of director, explain how you might have heard of self-funding in this format before, but this is what we're doing. And this is how we've solved those problems of perceived major risk, because that's what they have. They have this perceived major risk that the Virtue program eliminates. And if you understand that and what we're doing, then even this person who was very skeptical was sold in that 30-minute meeting over Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting. Where did I do that? I can't even remember if I was in Jersey when I did that meeting. I think I might have been. But guys, what he's saying here is you got a large group, right? And they want certainty, confidence, track record. And so look, as an independent advisor, even myself, you have a handful of self-funded cases. You don't have 100 employers. You're competing against the big box. They tell their stories of 100 groups. We've got, 1,000 employers. They're not all their clients. Okay, so how do you leverage? What do you leverage? You've got to leverage a partner just like they are, and saying, here's the program. This isn't just you. You're just one of 100 groups or 50 groups, whatever you want to say in there. It's been around. It has a track record. Here's your results. If you qualify, you can get in. You're not the only one doing this. And just from human psychology, people, they don't want to be first usually, right? They want to know other people are doing. They want to know other people that are just like them. That's why they ask, what industries do you have? Which is all nonsense, because it doesn't matter in healthcare, right? Everybody has heart disease, pharmacy, so on and so forth. So leveraging your partner, leveraging other people's case studies that are in the program, using the same solutions. You can, even as a new agent, over and over, we've done this with new agents, and leverage the program and other people's case studies to sell that program to your client or prospect. And that gets them over the hump, because there's massive uncertainty when you have change. Now, talk about the results. I don't know if we put it in the emails, but year one, how much money did you save them?
$2 million.
Yeah.
So they were pretty excited. They saved $2 million, and they were growing. They were opening other healthcare facilities across the country. They were buying up other healthcare facilities, and so they saved $2 million. And what we were able to do is this was the first year, so we showed them, this is what you would have paid on your old insurance plan, because we kept that going even though we were building the custom plan. We kept the negotiations with Blue Cross going, and what can the renewal be, and we were able to get them down from 14% down to 8%. Yay, we did it! And then we took them to a custom plan anyway, and just showing them, look, this is what you would have paid last year. Let's look at what you're paying now and compare that, and it was $2 million. And just showing them that is the great part. Look, what would have happened if you did nothing?
And that's a mature contract, guys. I'm not telling you a case study, which is 12-12 and, immature. This is a mature contract.
No, every protection in the book.
Yeah, run out claims, everything. We gave them a 12-18. That's what they wanted year one, a group that size, made them warm and fuzzy. Mature contract, $2 million. Now, we talked about earlier, I always say is once you get your client to trust you, how do you get them to trust you? You got to get them results, right? Because everybody pitches, and if you check the 5,500, you'll see every 3 years they change their broker because they deliver them promises and they don't deliver on those promises, right? And so being able to deliver the promises now gives it trust. It lets the pressure down. They build confidence and trust in you where they go, this is my guy. I don't need to. Good luck cold calling Redmond's clients now. They'll laugh at you. My clients that are self-funded will laugh at you because they think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread because you said you're going to do this and you actually did it. You actually got them the results. And now you have control. And now you fast forward and you if you want quality in life, you got to pay for it. And so everybody, advisors out there, employers are looking at admin fees and TPA fees. You're looking through the wrong end of the telescope here. Okay. I don't care. This broker's charging more than an X. Well, the price of everything, but the cost of nothing. So here Redmond saves $2 million and you go in and what kind of raise did they give you year one?
Yeah. So we go in, first of all, nobody wants a great savings in year one and then a giant increase in year two. Let's be honest. We all know that there's carriers out there that will buy the book for your business for 1 year and then have a 20, 25, 30% increase the next year. So that's part of it too, right? So we come in and we have a very marginal, I think it was like 1.9%. I don't remember exactly, but maybe 1.9% increase. And that was with the raise that I got, which was $100,000
maximum exposure increase, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
right. And that was with the actual increase that they gave to the commission because they looked at it and said, "Look, you saved us $2 million. You made X last year. We want you to keep working on it and keep doing this." So they gave us a $100,000 increase on the commission.
$100,000 raise, increase in commission. Guys, if you want to make more money, you can have less clients, make more money, big clients, deliver them results. Nobody can tell you, there's all this stuff online. Your brokers are charging this and that. When you deliver results, you charge what you want. Okay. You want quality in life, you got to pay for it. Okay. The cost will always be less with me, but you're going to pay me more than the average advisor because they don't know what you're doing. Okay. Yeah. And so here you are, you get $100,000 raise, and they're happy as can be to the point of what are they doing now? What happened this week for you? And again, guys, I know that I know what the answer is, but I'm trying to let you guys lead you on to the point of like, this is what happens. You start all the way over here, chase the prospect, you close them, you implement the right solutions, you get results, and then here's the beauty at the end where you go, wow, I'm making X. I don't even feel like I'm doing that much.
Yeah.
But you had to do all this to get there, and you have to do that on many groups to get the one.
Right. And humans are funny in that they love to give recommendations. If you ask your friends what's the best restaurant, your friends are going to tell you what they think is their best restaurant and say, oh, you have to go see this, or you have to go see that movie, or you have to experience this, or you have to use my mechanic or my plumber. If it's a good plumber, they want to tell people that. And when you save somebody $2 million, it's almost like they're bragging, which I very much appreciate, because now I have a team of people who are executives who are owning a giant $100+ million company, probably around $500 million valuation. And they're out there telling their friends, I saved $2 million, which in enterprise value, meaning their market, the EBITDA multiplier they're trying to get is between 13 and $16 million. So they're adding 27 to $32 million in enterprise value, and they're telling their friends about it. It might take a month or two, but I got a BOR from another larger company simply because I saved this company money, and now they're bragging to all of their friends, look how much money I saved, look at the enterprise value. And the way they communicate it is nothing to do with insurance or broker, if you will. They just say, look, this guy saved me $2 million, added so much enterprise value. You would be an idiot if you didn't do this. And it's powerful. It's extremely, extremely powerful.
Yeah, and these are peers that he's getting referred to. And BOR north of six figures?
Yeah, for sure.
North of six-figure BOR. So those guys trying to look to write new business, get results for your clients, you'll get referrals. They'll be happy. It's funny. They want to brag that they have the best. I talk about this all the time. You've got to be the expert in the market because people want the expert in today's world.
Yeah.
They want social proof. They want the expert. And when they have the expert and their guy is good, like he said, restaurants, oh, you got to talk to my guy, right? And so when you go to these meetings, right, we belong to insurance masterminds, right? You have insurance masterminds out there. Their industry has them too. So I have a client, same situation. He was in painting, construction, something like sandblasting, stuff like that. And they have their own group of people. Unfortunately, they're all smaller companies, but he went bragging about it, what we did and how much money we saved and everybody. And unfortunately, the groups weren't big enough to do it, but these guys are going to do the same thing, whether it's a CFO peer group, industry group, and you've got to have the results and the client case studies to do that. All it takes is one. It really only takes one, right? You can ride one for a long time case study, okay? Yeah. And so it's social proof. People want it. And so this group, I mean, what you didn't even have, did you have to pitch them hard? It just was like, hey, I want to do what they're doing.
So I met with the owner of the company in a cigar lounge, and we talked for maybe about 4 minutes, and he said, okay, you're my broker now, and shook my hand, and then we started talking about something else.
And again, so that's trust, confidence, and certainty. That's from the peer, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to take credit for selling that, right? Like, I didn't do anything. Let's just be honest. I didn't sell that guy. I'm not some amazing salesperson that in 4 minutes I got a BOR. That's not what happened. The reality of the situation is that somebody else sold for me. They sold it, and then I came in and then just accepted the BOR. And that's the easiest way to do business. Is prove it one time, let them sell for you, and then you'll make a bunch of money.
I love it. Guys, it's not easy, but it's not hard. If you have clients, you're looking to take self-funded, you're worried, at some point, if you don't do it, somebody else will, right? Get a raving fan. You talk about it. Read Russell Brunson's book. You need raving fans to talk about what you're doing. One of my clients, I gave her all my books. She's like, hey, can I have a bunch of your books? She used to give them out to people all the time. She even give them out to people that would pitch her, trick her with payroll and stuff, and come in and pitch her insurance. She'd be like, no, you need to talk to my broker. He could teach you how to do this, and hand him my book. It's hysterical, right? and that's kind of the raving fan you want from these clients, and it only happens with results, right? You really have to get results. You could be as charismatic as you want. If you don't get results, this type of stuff, it's harder to come by. Any questions for Redmond? I haven't talked to the crowd today, but if you have questions, go ahead, fire them in the chat here. or whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Redmond, anything else you want to add for guys? I know, we've been friends now for some time, and you'll never be the same advisor. You were talk to them just a little bit for those that are on the fence that are, I remember talking to you about charging fees and consulting fees and just doing things differently. And your wall when I'm now that's not what I'm going to do. And then now all of a sudden a year later, you're completely different advisors. You got more prospects right now than you know what to do it. And you go into meetings, like you said, you don't give a shit if you get them or not anymore.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's the beauty of it is, right. You're now going into these meetings like the subject matter expert, and I think I'm pretty good. I don't think I'm as knowledgeable as maybe you are, John, but I can go into a meeting and explain what I need to explain. I don't need to go into all the tiny little details because I have the confidence that I know it's going to work, right? As I've done it before, and not just this one group, but we had a group. It was a smaller group, and we went in and we changed their benefits dramatically. They had a $3,500 deductible. It was a city. We went in and I think we ended up saving them like $20 a head per month, which was nothing, right? But we put them on a plan, partially self-funded, where their benefits, their co-insurances were zero, their deductible was zero, their co-pays were zero. And we built that plan for them with the savings that we were able to put in with the partially self-funded. And just from that one group alone, again, we didn't save them a ton of money. They were a city. They then bought dental and vision and paid for that for all the employees before it was voluntary. So they took the savings, put it into that, got these insane great benefits, like literally the best benefits that money can possibly buy on the network they wanted. We set that up, and they're raving about all that to all the businesses in the area. So now we're working with the Ford dealership in that area to build a plan for them because everybody wants it. I mean, the employees are now talking to other people about how good their benefits is. So it's not just the company itself, it's the employees themselves. You build a great plan, you build this up, and the employees of these companies are now referrals, right? Because they're so happy they've never had a no deductible, no co-insurance, no co-pay plan before. So now I've got all of these referrals running around talking to businesses, their friends, their family, and people are interested. They want to know, how do you get a zero co-insurance, zero deductible, zero co-pay health plan?
It's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's true that people like to talk, and it's funny. I had a group that actually just sold, and they had that zero deductible plan forever, and the company that they sold to doesn't quite have that plan anymore. Although, because you're always going to get employees that like to complain. The same ones that complain today are going to complain tomorrow on the new plan, and we're a lot of them complaining now that plan is gone. And so we talked about this before the show, guys. This is a life-changing client you come across sometimes in the business, and some of us happen to get lucky because we're working hard earlier or later. But you can get lucky, catch that one client that can change your life. And I hope this one is for Redmond. Already sounds like it's on the right route. But put yourself out there. Try to do what's right for your client. Get them results. And you never know. You may be taking numbers from people all the time and just broke a record in 6-figure accounts in 4-minute closes. So we love to hear it, Redmond. We appreciate you joining us and sharing with us, being open to share. Guys, any questions for Redmond? Reach out to him. You can catch him on LinkedIn. But that being said, final thoughts, Redmond?
I think the main idea or concept is that you just have to do it one time, and you have to have the people like I did, right? So Virtue wasn't the only person that I was working with, but working with them gave me the confidence to know that when I go into the meeting, there's not some hidden trap door or something I failed to mention or some expectation that I forgot to talk about. And Virtue has so much experience and knows the vendors, and I get the knowledge from the webinars and from the group, the mastermind group, and see all of these people actually doing it before I did anything. my confidence was building. Because if you walk in there and you have doubt from yourself, everybody's going to smell that immediately. They'll see it on your face, right? So I having virtue and having those people around me to give me that confidence was a huge boost, because all you really need to do is have faith, which I did. I don't even know how, but John put that in me. And once I had that faith, I could go in, sell, and then I experienced myself, and I no longer needed faith. I know that it's going to happen. I know I'm not going to run into a huge situation where there's $1 million that healthcare claim and the whole thing blows up. I know that's not going to happen because I've already been through it, because I had the faith originally, and now experiencing it and seeing it not imploding and still working and still saving money and having renewals that come out that are tiny compared to what they were seeing before. That's really what ties it all together. Again, you only need one.
Yeah, and then, now we're dealing with claims, and you're seeing how we're addressing claims after the renewal. But
Absolutely.
guys, we're going to be holding a webinar next week on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Going to talk about converting fully insured, self-funded, giving you some ideas, giving you another playbook to go to your prospects meeting with this year and try to pitch them some new ideas, different strategies, different way to run the PowerPoint, how we could be of assistance with Virtue's program. So check it out. Be sure to register. You'll get an email about that in the next day or two. That being said, Redmond, again, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you sharing, and we look forward to hearing more stories with you.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
You
I'll
got
have
it.
some more stories next time.
All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Heads Up Advisor. Happy hunting. It's go time.